don't even think that you need to say album. You could be like, oh, like Miss Taylor fan over here. Like, what's the biggest stadium you think she's filled? Which
I
I'm
wouldn't even say.
ready
I would just say like
to bet
Look at Ben's face. He has
because
something in
it's
mind.
All right, so let's go for it. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you have something, another idea, what do you have?
I'm just saying, if we're really gonna talk about Taylor, like again,
Fair.
bring her up.
Well, you're always talking
like
about it.
here we
Yes.
go, Taylor Swift. Go ahead,
Ding,
Gato.
ding,
Like,
ding,
Take it
ding.
away.
Caro is a stan. Caro, so what's the biggest stadium that Taylor has played in?
I feel like you're setting me up for something, and I'm not sure what's the biggest stadium she's ever played, but she is the highest grossing artist to
Here
ever
we go. You
exist.
wanted
So
facts? Wrong
But
segment.
but you know that there's another country artist that just beat her out, right? For playing in front of the largest audience in the United States.
okay,
Or I think
how
globally?
big
Is
was
it
his
globally?
stage?
Yeah.
How big was his
I don't know.
stage?
It doesn't
Because-
matter how
110,000
many
people.
How many people went in the state? Were in the
Yeah,
stadium?
here it could
No.
be just him and a guitar. 110,000 people show up to see
Fine,
you.
because if
To be
it's him and
exact,
a guitar in the middle,
112,408.
if it's him and a guitar in the middle and the stage is this tiny and there's zero production value versus an artist that's gonna build out a huge stage and therefore take up extra seats to give a better show that you would need 3 nights to, get the audience that you would need. That means
The argument you should have said, like, but cumulative. How many people was it?
I think it was 300,000 in like a weekend of that city.
Wild. That's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty intense.
And then you're saying like it's really that she just has a better experience, right?
Well, but that's relative because that's
She has
subjective too.
let's not do subjective. She has better production value. That's not subjective.
All right, let's go a different route because clearly Gato's not ready to play.
An artificial artist needs pyrotechnic techniques to be a great show.
I think Fern and Hansel, we have to change our approach because it's gonna look right now like we're ganging up on her and like beating her up. And like the reality is that Taylor Swift is probably the hottest thing out right now, and we're gonna get canceled before we even.
We'll be like, we have 3 Swiftie hating men in the.
I know, and she talks about how she loves her canceled friends. So if we get canceled, just remember that.
Exactly. I love my canceled friends.
Oh man.
Anyhow,
So how about this? Better yet, did anybody go to an event this weekend? Some type of experiential.
no, but did you see Taylor
You don't
Swift
want me
at a
to answer
Starbucks
that.
launch?
Yeah, that's funny.
Go continue
Man,
the Starbucks the
I
Taylor
bring it
Swift
up just because-
conversation. Go ahead.
I
Hit
did
us.
go to an
happened
experiential
with the
event
coffee?
this weekend as I joined many other fans in the theatrical release of Taylor Swift's new album.
Theatrical. And how's that? Was it everything
Wonderful.
that you hoped for?
Yes,
Did you get any friendship bracelets?
I didn't, but I didn't have any to give, so that's my fault.
No, boo, you're not a real Swiftie. You can't go to a Taylor Swift event and not take friendship bracelets with you.
Yeah, I mean,
But
we
those
know
were
that.
community created or that like brand led?
No, that was community created, I think. Was it brand led? For real? No way.
So let me give you guys a little,
What
very small
brand?
context of how AMC, of how Taylor brought these like secret sessions to theaters through like different pop-ups and theatrical releases across the nation. So before the Eras tour, she was very big, but obviously like this completely changed everything for her in the sense of like she's now to a point that's like unattainably big. But before, when she would release an album, she would invite like, let's say like the top 50 fans to her house, and she would play all of the songs for her and explain like the behind the scenes of each song and call them her secret sessions. but she's way too big for that now.
Mm.
So she's like, "Oh, I have an idea. Let me just do secret sessions with everyone and partner with a theater, and we have different pop-ups of these secret sessions and now everybody can be a part of." So she would play a song, like play the song on the album, and then she would talk about all of her ideas behind the song, what led her to write it, fun facts and things like that through the entire album.
That's actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
Don't you get like the music video too? Like
There was a music video, and then you saw all the behind the scenes of the music video, what her ideas were behind it, how she directed it, how she wrote it, like her whole creative vision for it. It was actually very, very cool.
it
You
is
know,
pretty. I think it's also like the perfect storm for her, right? Like we've been talking about how experiential is kind of taking over, right? With what we believe is like AI fatigue and people kind of get it like people like all the things that are being created, but I think that people are also longing for these real life experiences and like you have all this digital art, all these digital things that are kind of happening, and it's definitely like the perfect storm for her, right? So I was looking at some stats actually, and it talked about how in this year, 2025, advertisers had increased their experiential budgets by 74%, or 74% of them increased them. Sorry, and then the attendance to events, average or brands are saying that last year they 43% of them said that attendance had increased, but this year 55% of them, more or less, are saying that attendance has increased. So we're seeing like this longing for like these real life experiences since we're uber connected through our phones, which we've talked about in other episodes with the wearables, and we're kind of just trying to unplug. I think Hansel, you had shared something with us about even Gary Vee kind of like talking about this and how all of these things I think are kind of like the perfect storm for people to move into or brands to take advantage of these people, everybody trying to experience this life, everyday life experiences, but with brands or companies to them.
yeah, I think that like to that point, in general, and just speaking personally, I feel like after the pandemic, you know, it has taken extra effort, especially immediately after the pandemic, extra effort to kind of get back with friends and hang out and, kind of make it a point to do things outside. And, virtual meetings have become so ubiquitous and, working remote is so easy and accessible now that I feel like it takes extra effort. So when brands, in this case, artists are creating like experiential opportunities that I think merge between not only the product, in this case, Taylor Swift and her music, but connection with the people who love, kind of culturally what you're sharing, and you get to go outside and do something unique. I think people are eating that up. And, it got me thinking about how, there's been some, talk about, certain concerts not doing well. And, I've seen in different markets, either shows for various artists not selling, or tours having to be postponed. And yet, tours like the Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, you have all these other shows that are doing great. And I think that the narrative there that brands can really pull from is those are it's not just a show, it's a full-blown experience, right? I think, Garo, you had mentioned briefly, aside from the spectacle that you took us through that was the inside of the show, I feel like the outside of the show was its own world in of itself. People were getting there hours before even the actual performance to partake on brand activations. Like, could you believe that? Like, literally going in and getting there early just to interact with brands before the show. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
But
honestly, and something else that I saw from the Bad Bunny concert with, like, the experiences outside of the arena was that people who didn't have tickets to the concert or had tickets another day were still showing up to be part of these activations and be
Nice.
part of this community, even though they didn't have the tickets for that day or didn't have tickets at all.
let me answer a question since you're like a big fan of Bad Bunny and Taylor Swift. How do they activate to you? Like, is it that you get emails, you get ads, you get things in the mail? Like, how is it that they get you involved?
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, like, for Taylor Swift, for example, I have been a Taylor Swift fan since I was 11. Like, I have my earliest memories of, like, burning CDs that, like, my friends and I would burn for each other of, like, her OG albums. So for her, she never really had to activate, but something that got me from a very early age back in the day when I used to buy her CDs, for example, was the fact that she is very well known for her Easter eggs, right? And her Easter eggs back then started, do you guys remember the CD booklets where you had the lyrics? So, me being 11 and, like, reading through the lyrics, I started noticing that some letters were capitalized and some weren't, and most weren't. So, I would, like, write down all the capital letters, and at the end of the day, it would decode to, like, a secret message or, like, a hint about her next album. So, that always got us like, "Oh my god, what is she up to? What is she doing?" You play detective, you're so intrigued in what she's wearing, what she's saying. "Oh, is this a sign? Is this an Easter egg? What does she have cooking?" Because she's actually gone online and said, "Oh, I have Easter eggs planned at least 3 years in advance." So she's always doing something, and I think that's how honestly she engages with her fans. Bad
Well, I
Bunny
mean,
is a little different, but
I was gonna say that the what Taylor has been a master at is creating community, and I
mhm,
think that that's what brands forget that they really need to focus on is creating that community and being part of that community and nurturing that community and doing these things that create fandom and create obsession with waiting for what's next, right? Not only that though, but it's solving a problem. And I know that in Taylor's case, maybe she's not solving a problem, but in a lot of different on a lot of different levels, when it comes to brands, they are out there with a true mission.
Mhm.
And I recently saw an interview with the CEO of Bobby, and Bobby, not the makeup brand, but the infant formula. And that it was a crazy story. But all they did was engage the community of new moms. And they went through this whole process, and it didn't carry into experiential, but communities centered around every other experiential thing that you can think of, right? So to shift from that, you look at like Patron. I think it was just now. The Austin Music Festival is happening right now, I think.
mhm. Yeah, it
Patron
just happened
did
this
the
past weekend.
Casa Jalisco in a community, right? Like you have a community of people who share this cultural likeness and all that, and they go to engage with that community and build on that community and start leveling that up. And Bad Bunny is the same thing. Bad Bunny has built his community, you know, with the Bebe Sotas, right? Isn't that the whole Bad Bunny thing? No? Am I wrong?
Also,
I don't
I
listen to
think
Bad
that's
Bunny.
the part of here. There's
Everybody's saying that. Like, I know all three of you listen to Bad Bunny. I don't listen to Bad Bunny, but
no,
that.
but to your point, I think it's
Bunny's brought back
like
Puerto Rican.
I would say that Taylor Swift and Bad Bunny do solve a problem. It's just not the way that we think of it. It might have to do with entertainment. That is a problem that they solve, right? Romantic issues or whatever. Or if you're growing up like Taylor Swift, was a communicator for young teenage girls. Bad Bunny is like somebody's for entertainment and for having a good time. But they're also both of them, if there's one thing about both those artists, right, that brands can learn from is that they're very authentic to who they are, right? So like if you ask any of the fans, like Bad Bunny seems like an authentic person. He's proud of his roots. He's open about what he thinks. The same thing with Taylor Swift. I mean, she said things that could jeopardize her career because she thought they were the right things to say. So they were authentic to themselves. So I think for as much as some people might not like it, the people who love her because she's authentic. And so if I would think that brands should be the same way, like try to be authentic to who you are. Uh, and people will see through that. Like if you're faking it to make it, it's not gonna work.
I mean, I think that when you look at brands in a brand campaign, right? You're really creating what's your messaging, what's your tone, what's your voice, what are you trying to communicate, and making sure that when you say those things in whatever medium, you say it in a way that is authentic to the brand and the consumer. And I think that experiential is a way that I think, Fern, like you said, like you're talking the talk in a campaign. Can you walk the walk in real life? And I think that if you find the right location to activate with the right activation and you have, the right engagement strategy, it does crazy one, like, for your brand loyalty, which is kind of what Ben was talking about, building to that community. So I think that there's no surprise that more people are doing it. I think that though the thing that you have to be mindful of is not just activating for activating's sake and throwing a booth in a random location just because you wanted to be, be there, but making sure that it makes sense for you to be there, right? Not only does it make sense for you to be there, to Ben's point, that you're solving a need or a problem for that community and audience, but that there's, makes sense for you as a brand to be there, right? Like that you don't look out of place, because then all of a sudden it just kind of creates like a dissidence there where it's just people don't know why you're even present.
Yeah, and that extension, I mean, when you go back to the like what Fernando was saying, even from the entertainment level, these immersive experience that the brands are creating at a concert or at some festival or whatever the case is, it's a way for the company to innovatively put themselves out there to create a true lasting connection with that specific community, that audience, and you start thinking about, like, we always talk about the customer journey, and the goal of catalyst conversations is always to bring it back to discover where that specific catalytic moment is that's going to accelerate transformation. And this fits in almost at every single touch point, because if it's a brand that you've never known and now you're discovering them for the first time, what kind of impression does that have? But if you're also already a consumer of that brand, now how further does that deepen your loyalty and the advocacy for that brand, So, sometimes, and at a concert level, at a sports level, that's one thing. But then when you start getting into pop-ups and these exclusive invite only events where you're part of the community, like, I'm sure Gato was looking forward. She knew that album drop was coming. She was preparing for that, but she was looking forward to even more so finding out where it was going to be at the theater, when she can go, how she can participate, and that just amplifies that feeling and that connection even more with that audience.
And the other thing too is that a couple of other stats I'll throw your guys' ways, and I know you guys always make fun of me for that, but word of mouth influences 20 to 50% of purchase decisions, right? And that can be from family and friends, but it's also from influencers, right? I mean, I know that we've talked about that, and it's just a reality. Like, and then personalization, right? So the more data that you can gather from your customers, from your potential clients at these events, and then if you're able to personalize messages, personalize offers, personalize an experience, they tend to do way better than just random or just general emails or general offers, right? So it's also a gateway for that, right? To gather data, and data is always going to be the most important thing. The reason, like, even going back to Taylor Swift, right? She's been gathering data and fans, building that audience for what, 12 years, 15 years? I don't know. So how old are you? So 12 years if you're 11,
I
13
think like
years,
20 years,
or 20 years, imagine,
like 20 years.
you know? Data is king, and experiential is obviously a place where you can also get data. And then the other thing is the phenomenon where they are, right? So, like, I was thinking about it actually this morning. Like, I, it, I'm sure everybody has AI fatigue, right? Like, we're all tired of listening to a TikTok about AI is coming for your job, AI is one, and then also aside from all that, it's like, how do I integrate AI? How do I do this with AI? It's like, how am I more efficient with AI? Every day is AI. So Saturday, Sunday comes around, and I think a lot of people just want to, turn off the phone. I don't want to hear about AI. I don't want to hear about anything, and just go and do something outside, you know? And I mean, don't you see it? Like, aren't you trying to, like, you guys, like Ben, that you have younger kids, like, how do you feel your children? Are you trying to keep them away from the phone? Do they hear this? How
Oh
is it
yeah.
being affected?
It's especially with younger kids, like, you're trying to disconnect them as much as possible, aside from, just the security aspect and the value aspect and all of that, who they're engaging with and how they're connecting with a specific community online that you don't have. Roblox, right? Roblox is a phenomenon. Like, it's out of control. And the reality is, like, your kids are so ingrained in this Roblox community that they get lost in that world. And I really try to live. And I'm not one of those parents either. Like, no, like, absolutely not. It's not happening. I know some of those parents who are like that. I think it's a disservice to your kids, because then you're alienating them from, advancement and innovation. But I do try to limit it, and I am very careful in making sure that they go do other things that are very human, very
Yeah.
experience driven, that they can have that one-on-one connection with another person who likes similar things, you know? So like Fafa's, who's our, one of our producers, his daughter and Maddie, my oldest, like they're super close and they're really good friends, and they get together and they'll listen to a Taylor Swift album and they're singing there and they're having all this fun. And that's what creates more community. And it can, I knew we were going to have this Taylor Swift conversation, but this is how I can contribute to it because that's the reality. It
Yeah.
does play generation. So here you have, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, and Gato's 28
28-year-olds,
and
and then we're
28
all
year
talking
old
about the same thing.
and I went to dinner with friends the other night, and even, one of my friends was almost 40. She's like super Taylor Swift and was like there. And now even with Vicky, so, you know, culturally, internally with Vicky, it's like, how do we align? And, Vicky has this specific angle where, we are able to bridge gaps with other, people who are like us. And Night Owl Cookies approached us, said, hey, we want to do, this album launch and listening party. Do you guys want to collaborate with us? And it was like the perfect collaboration. Why? Because I mean, we do desserts and coffees and all that, and they do like their cookies and brownies, I think, or whatever else it was. It was such a great collaboration. And even though it was a tight, like Otto said, I think that there was maybe like 50, 60 people there, right? It wasn't a lot, but it was a community. And I
Mhm.
think that brands a lot of times are so focused on just building that awareness or connecting, and they forget that you're really genuinely trying to create an authentic connection. And like that authenticity, if you don't hold on to that authenticity, like what do you really have when you're trying to now convince this person that you should be that source for them for whatever it is that you're selling, for whatever pain point you're trying to solve? Why trust you if you're not being authentic about what you're doing? And the experiential events allow you that opportunity to show your authentic side.
Well,
And
I was gonna
also,
say,
like, I mean, 60 people, it could be thousands and thousands of viewers if they're sharing that
Yeah, no,
experience.
yeah, realistically, there's an extension past that. Yeah.
no, no, I was to build on that. I was actually gonna say the following because it made me think about my own experiences with brands and experiential, and I think that where I've left the biggest impact on me has really been a where a brand has built a community over time, right? And now I feel part of that brand's community or artist or what have you. But the flip side is a brand genuinely joining an existing community, right? So I run marathons, and the last time I did the Miami half marathon, I would never, not because of anything, but I drink beer. I'm not going to drink a non-alcoholic beer because I'd rather just have a regular beer. I finished the race. I'm waiting for some friends, and I mistook athletic beer as just like a regular beer vendor. I had a drink and I was like, this is phenomenal. Like I didn't want to feel guilty for drinking because I had just finished running 13 miles. Yet like it was light and refreshing. And I was like, I'm a believer. This is phenomenal. Like it came into my space in a way that it made me like, comfortable and, didn't feel out of place. And I
But it
loved it.
has
Right. And it was an awesome like experience. All of a
No,
sudden, if you don't have a community, you can authentically join in a community and show up in a way that like you can kind of co-opt some of that brand loyalty there or sort of that
that
community element.
did that drink have alcohol?
No, zero alcohol.
Oh, boring. So when we played tennis, man, I pop a couple of beers right after the we finished the match. It's like drinking soda.
Well, but
yeah, but
that was the thing. I thought it was alcoholic beer. I went to go grab it thinking like cool, but then I had it and it was so good that I'm like, you know what? Like this is pretty legit. Like I'll have a second one. It was actually like I enjoyed drinking it. It was good.
but that's the reality, right? And that kind of comes back to like experiential being directly tied into community, because even on the golf course it's the same thing, right? Like we're working now on branding for a new fuzzy drink for RTD, an RTD that's supposed to be for golfers, I mean, ultimately.
Nice.
And our tie back is to community. There's references and jokes on the packaging that only a golfer would understand.
The
Yeah,
if
and
you know
as
kind
we're
of thing.
going through, yeah, like you have to connect. Like it has to be authentic. Like this is who we're for. Why else wouldn't you do that? And when we would show up with Fuzzy Zeller at any of these activations, and like he would go there for signings or whatever the case was, it was crazy. And you would see this guy get up there with like one hand and swing his club and hit it 150 yards, and he's like, it that it just builds this impression to your mind, like, this is why I belong to this community. This is what I came to see, and that connection deepen. So
That's pretty cool.
I think also
And
from like
so,
the brand
go ahead.
perspective, sorry, I think from the brand perspective, in the sense of like the term like experiential activation sounds like this monster, but it's so much more attainable than it sounds if you just like follow that like community, that intention. Like at the end of the day, like experiential activation is a pop-up with a good PR team. And that's honestly what you need to get something to happen. You can partner with a coffee shop. Your brand can partner with a coffee shop, with another brand like Night Owl after a marathon where there's already a big event going on that you could just add yourself to. Anything that allows your brand to be there with intention, no matter how small, is a great way to start. Like Cancel, I am running this year. I am not a marathoner, but not
Mhm.
yet. But
You you will be very
I will
shortly.
be soon. But there was
can we insert a
the brand.
picture here? Her last finish, her half marathon. Insert picture right here.
I did a half marathon and insert picture. And the half marathon, they had like the expo and I tried Goo for the first time, which is
Mhm.
like a specific brand of energy fuel. And I fell in love. There were a lot of mixed reviews, but I fell in love with the Gook that they were giving away at an activation at the expo. And I've probably at this point spent $300+ on Goo during my training and now for the next race that I'm doing. So just that little activation has now given them like $300+ from my pocket.
And that's direct ROI, and you see it all the time. I mean, that's the reality. We saw huge lifts after doing the activations at the tailgate activations with 2LAs and South Florals, and you would see right directly after that game, you would see a lift in the sales of those products. It's just there is going to be, and sometimes you and we talk about this also too, because it's also about the lifetime cycle, right, of that client. And Vern talks about this continuously, because okay, you got that one sale, but how many more times did that person buy from you, right? How
Mhm.
many more times, how many years has it been that this customer continues to come back to you over and over again? And South Florals, I mean, we've built a book for them that it's years now. Like, you're talking about 6, 7, 8 years of the people continuing to order every birthday, every anniversary, and you see them coming in, and loyalty is also that needs to be, what's the word? Not incentivized, but loyalty is something that needs to be
Nurtured.
celebrated.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
celebrated.
Like, go partner with those people who are loyal with your brand. Give them the incentives and give them, what they deserve for keeping you around. Like, ultimately, listen, this was the craziest stat, and I know that we all heard it this morning because we're listening to the Liquid Death masterclass. Coca-Cola stays in business because of the people who buy 2 times a year. It's not the people who drink Coke every single day. They stay in business because of the people who buy 1 or 2 times a year, and that
because
is
they
crazy to think about
Couldn't
that
be
way.
me.
those people account for 50% of their total purchase.
Well,
So think about
it goes back, Ben, to what you're saying about lifetime value, right? Like, how do you define loyalty? Is loyalty the person who you ran an ad and bought right away? Or is loyalty, like, I love that South Florida example, is loyalty the person who every Mother's Day without fail knows that South Florida is my spot and that's where I'm going, even if that's the only time that I'm
They
buying
don't. They
flowers
don't
and I
even.
have no flowers in my house the other, 11 and a half months out of the year, right?
You know what
I think
loyalty
that
is? Loyalty is Hold up. Loyalty is the person who walks into a restaurant and says, "Can I have a Diet Coke?" And they say, "We have Diet Pepsi," and they say, like, "No, no, water." That's loyalty. Like, that is, like, you're not gonna find anybody 100% to be like, "Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, water, fine."
yeah, I understand that, but I do want to add to that I think the brand has the responsibility to build a loyal audience, right? You're the one that has to make the steps to make sure that the person has a good experience with your product, that they have a good experience after they purchase your product, that you communicate in a way that's relevant to what your product is after the fact. And then that's how you really build the loyalty that you need in order to succeed. It's not just gonna be one ad, and then with just one ad right before is, let's say, Mother's Day for South Florida. It's like you have to consistently be communicating. You have to consistently be trying to engage. Your brand has to speak or share the values of that customer, or that customer has to share the values of your brand. So that loyalty is earned throughout time, right? In the way that you behave, you know?
And that goes back to the
I,
word of mouth.
yeah,
Because you have such an incredible experience with the brand, and if you go to South Florals for every holiday or you go to Vicky for every birthday and every gathering, and somebody's like, "Oh, hey, I'm in need of getting my mom flowers for this." You're like, "I know just a spot. These have been my people for X plus years. I've gone to Vicky every Sunday for the past 10 years. They never fail." And so now that loyalty is in an extension belonging to someone else because of what that meant for you. So loyalty just goes such a long way and brings us really back to building that community through the experiences that even just one person can have.
I love that. Clock it.
Clock it.
I know you, and you mentioned that this plays out through every touch point or every stage of the customer journey. Like maybe we could just kind of, what are some of the most important ones that you think people should be thinking about uh, when trying to create experiential events?
And that's I'm glad you asked that question because I think there's also this misconception that an experiential activation needs to be done at an event, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? Because that
Yeah.
you can create experiential means an experience. It's a brand experience and it's done for a moment, right? So a lot of times it can be in the parking lot of a stadium. It doesn't
Hmm.
need to be in the fan zone next to Verizon. There's and that's why Caro had mentioned like, oh, there's certain things that sometimes brands feel like it's out of reach, but it's not. And the amount of people that you're going to capture in the process, is important to the way that you're going to be able to build on that community. When you're in that planning stage and you're thinking about how are we going to do this, are we going to bring in influencers, how are we going to amplify this, and you're so focused on the post that people forget that they're where brands fail. And sorry, friend, to answer your question, this is where brands fail. Somebody goes to an experiential activation, their data is they're having a great time. They're willing to give you everything. They'll let you swipe their license. They have, I mean, oh, to enter, we need your license in order to. And what do? You happily hand it over. You're like, oh, I get a friendship bracelet. Here you go. Give me my friendship bracelet. They give you everything. Most brands won't do anything with that data for 2 weeks, 2 months,
Hmm.
never. If there is not a immediate action plan for what you do with the data that's collected, and I'm talking about immediate, like they sign up, they should get something there. There should be something in their inbox the next day. There should be a text message the next day. They should get some kind of direct mail the next day. You have their email, you should be retargeting them. Thank you for coming to the event and build on community. Join our community, follow us on social, join our broadcast channel, do this. Brands lack that. They're missing on that. So if you're not able to develop that community after that experiential activation, your ROI is going to be this big instead of that big.
Then, and I'll give you one step forward on that because, like, that's such a like solid point. I would also add that if you do a killer activation, let's say outside of your brand space, um, you and then I go and if it's a brand that has a retail space, or even if your site itself does not exude the same energy that I interacted with physically in the real world, it's going to be such a hard like mismatch, right? You can't exude luxury and then I go to the store and not feel that. You can exude customer service and then when I go into a store not feel that same energy. So like you really have to live it, right? Like the authenticity aspect of it, it has to be it has to be a glimpse into the brand, not a random, highlight reel that then you never engage with again until the next festival, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree so wholeheartedly. You
Try to
got
get
that out of
no,
my.
one more time, one more time.
Sorry.
That's a teaser for the next one. We're
That's
talking, then we're
Jesus.
talking ho ho
Ho,
ho.
ho, ho. That was the Santa coming out of me, guys. Sorry. Christmas episode is loading. It's loading deep in the lungs. Too
and
funny.
Tyler, you have anything to add to that?
I feel like I was gonna say what Hansel mentioned about having that authenticity throughout, because what's a great activation or a great experience without the actual brand to follow through with it? There's been a lot of times that I've been to certain events where the people at the events or activations have promised the world, and I've really believed them, to be honest. And then I'll get home and they've told, like, I had, for example, I went to an event a few years ago and I was like, this thing that you pay a yearly subscription for, and it's all about like entrepreneurship or whatever. And I remember the CEO got on the stage and she was like, you guys, write to me in this paper right here. She handed papers to everybody and she's like, write to me something that you could use help with, and I will personally reach out to every person here.
Dang.
I will personally reach out to every person here, even if it takes me a month, and I'll reply to you. And I remember, you guys, I was so excited and over the moon and feeling so inspired. And I went home and I waited and I waited and I waited months. And after 3 months, I wrote to them. I was like, hey, like, maybe mine got lost. But you guys told me that you would. She never even replied to me. And so I stopped the
Probably.
subscription. I unfollowed
Right.
the brand. No,
Like Santa
20,
But that
Claus. Like,
no, but that's
23.
solid because like
Listen, guys.
what is the repercussions of failing,
I literally, like,
to
I
live up to
stopped
the
subscribing, I
authenticity?
stopped following them, I
right.
told everybody about it, they all stopped following, like, it was, like, this whole thing.
Ooh.
I haven't heard that name in years. I'll tell it to you guys offline. I haven't heard that name in years, so.
So
No,
so
throw a
side note,
timeline. Put them out there.
Nice.
Who cares?
I'm sorry that happened to you, Kara. If you give me a little paper with a question, I'll answer.
Fern, you're hilarious. Fern, I have a fun fact for you.
I want to ask the most important question of this podcast, and it's for Kara. So in this last album, where is it ranked on all of Taylor Swift albums?
You guys, there's 12 albums.
10 minutes later.
I would
This is the best album she's released. I
don't think it's the best album she's released, but it's very different, and I really enjoy it. It's getting a lot of hate for it online, but it's honestly making making me wanna, like, be happier because it's such a happy album.
Well, that's good because I remember the last album and it was kind of like, I'm gonna need a
It was
day.
Tortured Poets
I'm
Department,
gonna
everyone. It was
need a
Tortured Poets Department.
yeah.
That's
Well,
the name
man,
says it all.
Bruno was off camera for a week. Nobody could talk to her.
I must admit that this podcast was torturous for me with all that Taylor. But listen, we're gonna call this episode the
It's
torture.
funny.
We're gonna
But
end
there's
with
You
Potato
know, that's something like this, and then you get in his car and like he's jamming to Taylor Swift and all that.
Right.
Please get out of here, right? Get out of here with that, man.
It's like, well, remember that story that like a bunch of people Spotify's lists were like, leaked, and all of a sudden everyone knew what the politicians were listening to. I just want to see what Fern's top 5 is going to be at the end of the year.
Mine
rap
is
all
report.
probably
have to
have
share our
Kendrick Lamar for sure. For sure,
We
some
all
Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar.
Yeah, we'll start in the Kendrick Lamar, man. We'll be here for another 45 minutes. He'll give you he'll dissect that entire beef with Kendrick and Drake like 5
my
different
top
ways.
3 artists, my top 3 artists is number 1 Taylor Swift, number 2 Bad Bunny, and number 3 is Drake on
I
my
thought you were going to
Spotify.
say it's going to be Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift. For those MTV kids, Dylon, Dylon, and Dylon, you know the reference. You let me know in the
Nobody's gonna
comments.
nobody's gonna
Anybody else that? You rate yourself out. I think we should end right now before we get kind of.
you're spitting hot fire now,
Hot
boy.
fire. So hot fire that we have to wrap this one up.
Like that for sure is such a cultural thing because like I'm looking at Pedro right now and he didn't even like chuckle, which means he has no idea what we're talking
I have
about.
no idea what you're talking about either. But can you do the WWE guy? Where he's like cut.
That's so funny. Well, guys, this has been awesome. I hope to see you guys. Listen, this is actually a great time to have this episode because I hope that I see one of you guys or all of you in some type of Oktoberfest activation, hopefully with alcoholic beer in your hand sometime soon.
I don't know. I'm a big advocate right now for liquid death. So like, if you're drinking liquid death, you got same
Holla at
street
your boy.
same street cred.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Well, until next
Okay.
time, everybody.
And cut.
I'm not going through that torture thing again with Taylor Swift for 30 minutes.
Okay,
That's
guys,
good because
let
that's
me
gonna
play
be
you the
super
first
relevant.
song. Let me play you the first
Huh?
song. So good.
Oh, no.
Come on.
Oh no.
You hear
Even
it?
Pedro's getting in it. He's like,
Let
nah.
only see.
You hear it?
Watch Parsons is singing along.
No.
No, we can't hear. Oh, there you go.
It's so good.
That's like elevator music.
Thank God.
Wait,
See?
how do you even dance to this? How do you even dance to this?
There's a TikTok dance. Watch. Hold on.
Of course
Let
there
me see.
is.
I know it. I'm learning it. Hold on. Here we go. Ready? Do you hear it? Do you hear it?
Yeah, but can you do the dance? What's the dance?
Something. You're 5. There's a TikTok
Hey.
dance.
Get crazy.
And that's how we're gonna open the show because it was still recording.
So now
No,
you know what you
can't. Copyright. You can't. Copyright infringement. It's Taylor Swift.
No, bro, we're not. It's no copyright. It's fair
No
use.
copyright.
Now, see, Ben, now you gave Gato the first topic of conversation with her therapist right
Your
now.
therapist.
No, the worst one was you guys put on did you put on your glasses the whole time or you had them in
Nope.
your
You kept them on top of her.
No.
put your glasses on so we can share our screen and we can show what you look like. No, you saw it. Hansel, did you see the picture or not?
No, I put that in the other group chat.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Right? Doesn't she look like the lady from
Like Edna, no? Edna from
The Incredibles?
Too funny. Also, still recording.
I never heard
I don't know.
that so much.
We're just building up. This is a building up character for you.
Gato,
No, my character's built enough.
you can feel good about the fact that, you know, it's not because you're a girl, it's just because you're the youngest and I have no hair.
No.
100%. You know what? It's gonna look like we're ganging up on you because you're a girl, but it's not. He's 100% right.
It's an ageist situation. It's not a sexist situation.
It's
Nah.
age discrimination, not gender.
It's ageism.